I feel it.
Yes.
That's it. We did it, Elizabeth. Welcome to Leadership from the Heart series. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi. Hi, Renee and Lee. We are so honored and blessed that you are here with us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me. I had to skip my nap and come up here and talk to you guys.
And that really means a lot because naps, I know how important those are these days for most people.
And sure. Elizabeth, okay, so you have all Disney fans here, and there's a lot of Disney fans watching. So I just want to go right to this. Lee Cockerell is the legend of Disney service, right? When I think of incomparable customer service, I think of Lee Cockerell and all the wonderful work you did while you were the executive vice president of operations at Walt Disney World for 10 years. Elizabeth, do you know that Lee has his name on a window on Main Street, USA at Walt Disney World?
I'm not surprised, but I was wondering if it was going to be like the Where's Mickey, you know, all the Find Mickey things. It's one of those things that it's probably, I've seen it a million times and I never noticed it just because there's so much else to take in. So that's pretty.
It was fun to get that.
Only a few.
Did they surprise you with that, or was that something that you said, hey, this would be really cool?
No, they surprised me with it. I didn't expect it, actually. So
that's great. Awesome. Well, I'm going to look at that next time I'm there. So that's something new to see.
Well, Lee, so once again, thank you for joining us on Leadership from the Heart. As we communicated on about prior to coming live, Elizabeth and I are coming together to talk to leaders who inspire and uplift others, which of course you very much have operated over 40 years of your career in that same mindset. If you take a look specifically at your time at Walt Disney World, as a local Orlando resident for almost 20 years now, I know and experienced 2001 and 2004 here in Orlando. During that time, you were leading all operations when you were faced with business adversity such as 9/11 and the awful hurricanes that came through in 2004. Can you talk about what suggestions or advice you have for leaders now when faced with business adversity such as this crisis of a pandemic?
Yeah, somebody was. I'm going to talk to a group tomorrow in Australia about this, and they said talk about how to lead in a crisis. I said, well, the best thing you can do is get ready for it. Don't run and buy a fire extinguisher after the house burns down. So I would say we practiced a lot at Disney. 2 or 3 times a year, we were put through several hours. I had a company put us through it. You might get a call at 3 a.m. It would describe what's happening, and then we implemented it. We probably had the best command center in the world. We had the right people in there. We already knew what kind of decisions we would make. And on morning 9/11, actually, we opened the command center within 30 minutes, and we evacuated all 75,000 guests in the parks in about 90 minutes back to their hotels. We passed out tickets for them to come back if we were going to get open the next day. Actually, we didn't have any issues whatsoever. Everybody knew what to do. And I think we have a culture where everybody did what they were supposed to do. We kind of have a good formula for responsibility and hiring people who really want to do the job, that have the right attitude. And so when you know what to do, it's a lot easier. So after I closed the parks, that's about all I could do. I had to wait for everybody else to do what they're supposed to do. And they did. And the hurricane, same way. I closed Disney for the first time ever back in 2001, and I didn't have to check with anybody. I knew that I could do that because it was a safety issue. The hurricane was heading straight for Florida. It actually ended up turning and going to Charleston, unfortunately for them. But we closed, and I mean, Disney really has this attitude of literally safety is first. And I hope with everybody in a business would have that attitude, or for your family. What's more important than safety? I tell everybody, every parent in the world only worries about 2 things for their kids: safety and education. I mean, literally their whole life. And when you know clearly how you make decisions, you'll make the right one. And so that's what we did. And then we had months and months after 9/11 of trying to figure out how to keep the business alive. And we lost about 40% of our business immediately with cancellations after 9/11. And so we just worked through it. I had a lot of smart people there that knew what they were doing. People used to ask me what I did, and I said, nothing. I just have great people, and they know what to do. And I'm there if they need to talk to me about it. And I think that's one of the issues for people. Hire the right people around you, let them do their job, and don't try to be the expert in everything because you can't. Yeah. So, yeah.
One of the things I love about you and in past keynotes that you've done and speeches you've done is, and you haven't used this word really, but you don't let the ego get involved. And I think so many people let the ego get involved, but you talk about being surrounded by great people. And I really think that that's, no matter what industry you're in, that really is the key to success, and not letting the ego get involved.
Well, I'd say today there is no, there's a lot of leaders in the world, and right now we're hearing from a lot of them think they know everything. And that's that's the beginning of the end when you think you know everything, because first of all, people are not going to tell you the right things, and then you're going to make the wrong decisions. And the truth is pretty much the only way to go. People ask me, what's the best approach for most problems? I said, telling the truth. It probably works better. Kind of like your mother taught you. And when you know that, yeah, I mean, it's just these basics that people are forgetting about, whether you're a parent or a leader in business, is keep people safe, tell them the truth so they trust you. I mean, what's more important than trust? Literally. I mean, you work with people, you know the people you trust and the ones you don't. And it's just so much easier to get things done. Now, people don't always like the truth at the moment, but that's how we all get better. That's why your mother always told you the truth, whether you liked it or not.
That's a really good reminder. And I am so eager to point this out too. In your book that you authored, Creating the Magic, one of the things you spoke about were the Disney great leader strategies that began with this quote. And this is very poignant for our time right now, is in times of drastic change, it is the learners who inherit the future. The learned usually find themselves equipped to live in a world that no longer exists. So Lee, we're really curious for you to share some of your thoughts around the importance of continuous learning and education from a leader perspective, and not living in fear to say, sometimes I just don't have the answer.
Well, absolutely. I've got a kind of a background where I dropped out of college because I forgot to go to class, and went in the Army, and I learned a lot there. And I was pretty immature as an 18-year-old. I didn't really understand the value of learning. I grew up in a little town in Oklahoma. I mean, nobody went to college. And so I finally woke up one day after I was out working as a waiter in a hotel in Washington, D.C., and I started learning things. I got put through training courses, and I started reading more, and I started paying attention, and I liked it. I like knowing more, and even so, the rest of my career, I really developed a lot of courses. I read a lot. I travel a lot. When I left Oklahoma, I'd been nowhere. I mean, nowhere. And I now done business in 45 countries around the world, and more. And I still read every night, because every time I read something, I'm going like, why didn't I know that 10 years ago? I mean, that's absurd. Why didn't I know that? And we have no excuse today for not continual learning. It doesn't have to be in college. It's better if you get that, but you got it in your pocket. Google, and anything you want to know, you can know. And I tell people, if you don't know the definition of a word and 5 minutes later you don't, that would be your fault. Sometimes I'll hear a country, 200 and some countries in the world. I'll hear a country, and I say, I didn't even know it was a country. And I look it up, and I say to Mom, 4 million people live there? And I didn't even know about it. It's amazing. And my grandson's girlfriend, they're both biomedical engineers in Boston, and she decided she wanted to learn every country in the world. And she now knows every country in the world. She just studied it, and she knows the capitals, and she's spouting this off, and I'm going like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But so, I mean, you can continue to learn. You should. And obviously today we don't have any choice because things are changing every week. I mean, particularly in technology, marketing, supply chain. I mean, they're all connected. And if you don't keep on top of it, you'll become irrelevant. I mean, in fact, you go out of business because your competitors will be on it and you won't even known about it. And so it's pretty important to keep learning. Yeah.
Well, knowledge is power, right? That's what they've always said. That's what I've always learned. And, during this time, we keep saying this unexpected gift of time. What else do you have to do? I mean, this is a huge opportunity to take advantage of.
Yeah, my partner and I have we have all this time. So we already had a time management course online that we sell and a morning planning course. And we just developed, we'll have probably in 2 or 3 weeks, we'll have 10 courses. We just wrote one out yesterday. It's called Creating Magic 30. It's really probably the 30 things you don't really know that you should have learned about business and how you conduct and appreciation for people and all those kind of. So we rolled that out, and we did one for students. It's coming out today or tomorrow because there's just a lot of students are having a lot of anxiety right now, and talk to them about how, if you're young and haven't been through any roadblocks or obstacles, this is pretty upsetting time for people. I said, it's not bothering me too much because I'm old. I've been through this so many times, this kind of stuff. Now, this is one pretty unusual, but we've been doing this 2 months. I got fired once and I was out of a job for 3 months with no money and a baby. So, I mean, I'm going like, this is kind of like that, except I don't have a job anyway. So, but all my clients were canceled. I had speeches all over the world. I was supposed to be in Poland last month. And so, hey, you know what? It happens. Nothing I can do about it. So we're producing courses and people are buying them. And my granddaughter's graduating in May from University of Colorado in Boulder, and she's already got lots of things going on about. We've got her to be an affiliate for selling our courses, and she's got a client that hired her in Africa to do their website for them, and so she's reaching out there and find a little thing, get a little money here, a little money there, and learn and keep busy. Because a lot of people are sitting around just worrying about it instead of picking them. Yeah. Now, I know there's a lot of people that don't have a product and they don't have something to do, but people are hiring too, by the way. If I was out of a job right now, that's all I would do every morning: to get up, take a shower, shave, get dressed, and get on the computer for the whole day looking for jobs. Because the more you look, the odds go up that you're going to find something. And I tell people today, I told my granddaughter, take any job you can get in any good company. Don't worry about whether it's cleaning the bathroom, what it is. Just get in there, show them how great you are. And this will be over and you will move along and you'll get experience and you'll get exposure. After you get an education, the other two things you need is experience and exposure. Exposure to the world and exposure to other people and other ways of thinking. And without exposure, I think, and without experience, you're not going to be very valuable to somebody just because you know some stuff. Yeah. So wow. I think about it.
Leading the way and all of your focus you bring a hospitality focus in your background for 40 years. You were with Marriott, you were with Hilton, and of course the Walt Disney Company. One of the things that you say that really stands out to me is that you are talking about the risk a company makes if they're only focused on the product and a service. And then the competitive advantage that companies or organizations have when they're focused on product, services, and superior customer service. What tips do you have for leaders who are seeking to make sure that they're scaling and growing their culture and the customer service that they're provided?
Yeah, I mean, I came to the conclusion years ago that most companies have a good strategy about opening new stores or coming up with a new iPhone, but they don't have a leadership strategy and a customer service strategy, because really at the end of the day, products are becoming pretty much a commodity. You can buy whatever you want just about anywhere, and you can get it on Amazon, and they'll ship it to you, and no problem. You don't have to go out to a store, but if the difference probably is that relationship and that person taking care of you beyond the call of duty and making it happen for you. And small businesses probably are going to have eventually a good advantage because they know their customers better. They can, you can do extraordinary things that people are not thinking about. Now, on the other hand, most companies are not thinking about that. I have a dry cleaner. I've been taking my shirts to for 20 years. The guy loses one of my shirts every now and then, but I don't care. He's a great guy. He's nice. He'll deliver them to me if I need them. He'll get them done in an hour. It's just, we have a good relationship. So I let him lose a shirt occasionally. And so some, people will even pay more for the relationship. To that confidence you have that somebody's going to be there, they're going to do what they say they're going to do, they're going to follow up, keep their promises, do what they say they're going to do. So that's a big deal of creating that. People say, well, how can you do it when you're just got 5 or 6 people? I see that should be really easy, not when you have 70,000, because at the end of the day, culture is everything. I mean, if you don't have the right culture, you'll probably get a divorce, or the kids are going to run away from home, or culture is everything. And that's what we really focus on at Disney, is the culture of making sure that, people always ask me, what is the real recipe at Disney? And I said, it's very simple. We hire better, we train better, and we treat people better. I mean, that's, you talk about the basics. Your mother will tell you that again. Anytime you got a problem in life, you don't know what you should do, you can't make the right decision, call your mom. She knows.
That's right.
Mothers don't have any agenda. They care about you. That's it.
Elizabeth, Lee's talking about how the customers feel, how you make them feel, right? And I'll tell you, Lee, Elizabeth is so great in her business in real estate in Austin at really, really touching on those basics and helping her customers feel valued and appreciated. And that's the basics that you talk about all the time, is how are you going to, when they leave, will have been feeling by the way that you served them.
Absolutely. I bought houses for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and I've never had one agent stay in touch with me after selling me a house.
See, I love hearing you say, I don't love hearing you say that, but I love hearing you say that, because I tell people that my goal is to treat each one of my clients like they're my one and only client. And the stats show that 83% of agents do not stay in touch with their clients. And that's mind boggling to me. For me, I could have recommended one after the other executives over 16 years. I brought people into the Orlando area, because what do people do when they move in? Do you know an agent? Do you know a doctor? Do you know a dentist? Do you know what area of town we should live in? Schools? I mean, it's ridiculous.
We're going to fix that moving forward, just so you know, right? Because Realtor Orlando, don't worry, we got you covered now, Lee.
Well, I'm going to die in this house, but you can deal with my son. He'll have it. And you can see if
Well, I love that about you and about Disney. I mean, you're creating the magic there. You're making it a place that's just so memorable. And people, my children and I have gone, and our family has gone over the years. We're not as close, like in the backyard, like Renee is, but they still talk about that. There's a lot of memories we've had and a lot of experiences we've had as a family, but we always go back to the experience at Disney. And it's just fascinating to me and so impressive how you had 60 or 70,000, and I love that they're all called cast members, that treated everybody in the parks or any of us like we were the one and only person there. And that's just kudos to that organization and the leadership that you had, because that, again, you're not talking about 3 or 4 people. You're talking about thousands and thousands of people serving so many others.
No question. And people say, how do you do that at Disney? I say, well, we hire better people. First of all, we hire nice people. We don't try to hire people, make them nice. We train them so well, they know what they're doing. So their self-confidence is high and they can do what they won't disappoint you. And we treat them well, so they wake up in the morning and want to come to work, not drudgery and have to come. Not everybody, but mostly. and you run into those people all week. And I tell people it's the happiest place on earth or else, like your mother told you, be home by 11 or else, because we're professionals, and that's what professionals do. It's like a professional real estate. You stay in touch with your customer. You call them back when you say you're going to. You show up at the time you say you're going to show up. Professionals, even if they had an argument with their husband or the kids misbehaved this morning, you still go out and you don't show that to your customer. I mean, I'm sure Cinderella has a bad day, but she still goes out there and makes it happen, Right. And so it's a matter of raising your expectations for yourself and for the people who you work with. Expectations and clarity of expectations. Ask your mother. Was your mother ever clear with you when you were growing up about what she expected? Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I tell people my mother was a terrorist before they had them in the world. I mean, because she had a long-term vision to get us to leave home eventually. So she had to get us ready. And that's what we do for people. We train you, we hire you, we develop you so you can have a better life and so you can take care of our guests. Because at the end of the day, unless you're committed to your people, they're not going to be committed to you. They know. Everybody knows who's committed and who's not. Yeah. Everybody knows the boss that'll be there for you and the one who won't. Everybody knows. And I think most people don't know they know, but we all know what's going on. And you got to be sincere, and you got to be there for people. And hey, right now we're seeing some people in the U.S. being out there helping other people, and other people could care less. So, I mean, it's about, we tried to create a culture at Disney where everybody matters and they know they matter. All 60, they matter.
You touch on that, and that brings us to, will you talk about your acronym RAVE, R-A-V-E? Because this is a perfect segue.
Well, it stands for respect, appreciate, and value everyone. And so I would just say simply, who doesn't want that in their life? Do you want it? Do you want to be respected? Do you want to be appreciated? Do you want to be valued? Do you think there's somebody who doesn't out there because of their race or their education or where they're from or disability? It's just absurd. And I mean, I always talk about, I don't know if you've ever had a manager, a leader who was just a real jerk and intimidates people and raises their voice and all. And I sit back sometimes and think, who really has the right to go around doing that? Where's that? I wouldn't work for that person 5 minutes. I quit one job because of that. My boss was a screaming, crazy guy, so I left. Because my mother kind of yelled a lot, so it hurts my stomach, and I don't like to work like that. But there's no upside to trying to intimidate people.
Right.
There's no upside to trying to control your wife. None.
One of the things you used to do, I believe, is when you would have a meeting in your office, you've talked about in your book that you would come around the other side of your desk and sit next to the person in your office.
Oh, yeah. I never sit behind my desk unless I'm alone. I mean, that's why would you? When you talk to your kids, you don't set them in a chair in front of your desk. You get up close and personal so they can understand that you're totally focused on them. There's nothing, not being preoccupied. You're not paying attention to anything else. And that's it. Get into a position where you can do one thing at a time and then go on and do this next thing. And position is important. Getting in the right environment and culture to talk to somebody or to have a conversation, or even with your children or with people at work or a client. We just got to be careful what we say and do. Everyone's watching us, and they want to, people want their privacy, and they want, a lot of people are insecure. Self-esteem may not be high. You've got one little thing can embarrass them to death. They'll never forget about you. See it with bullying of kids in school. One little thing can attach itself to them. Something a teacher might say in front of the rest of the class, lasting impressions if you're 13 or 14 or 15. And you got to be careful. I mean, I always tell people, don't underestimate the influence you have every single day with every single person you run into. Every day you have influence. You can either make them feel better or worse. I mean,
you were talking about the manager that was yelling and that type of personality. And I've always thought those people that try to gain control or keep control, it was always insecurity for something.
Always.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Oh.
I don't know what's going on in their lives, and I don't know what could have happened down that path, but there was always something missing. And so I've always wanted to not be that type of leader as well, and kind of work on me to be a better leader, whether it's leading my family or my children. I've got to work on me first. But those type of personalities, I know that there's something missing, and we can't fix them. They're going to have to fix it themselves.
True. Everybody's got half a dozen problems you don't know about.
Right.
And they come out, and sometimes you think you caused it. It probably had nothing to do with you. It's some 5 or 6 things that happened today before they got there, or their mother's sick, or who knows what it is. And that's why I just told all our leaders at Disney, don't ever try to win an argument with a guest. Just let it go. They've got problems you don't know about. It's not because the steak is cold. It's because of 12 other things that set them off. And just take a deep breath and take care of people. I said, we like everybody at Disney. Mickey likes everybody because everybody's got a credit card. So be nice to everybody. Right? And for the real estate, real estate, everybody, if they got financing lined up, hey,
they're all going to buy a house. Absolutely. They have to live somewhere. You're right. Well, in addition to you speaking and leading in such amazing ways, you're also an author, and you have quite a few books. Let's talk about the customer rules. We're talking about customer service. And in your book, your number one rule is customer service is not a department. And I love that. That is just, because we do talk to people that are like, I'm going to hire a customer service rep, or we're going to do it this way, but you're talking about, no, it's not a department. So how does an organization cascade and scale that personality mindset around customer service?
Well, my theory and Disney's theory, and even at Marriott, was the person that your customer that comes into contact with you has a problem. You've got to make sure you hired the right people and you've trained them, and they've got the authority to solve that problem. Now, at Disney, I'd say 90% of any problems any guest could have, the frontline cast member has the authority financially and with training to solve it. Now, if it gets into a really absurd situation, they have to get a manager, but most things are not a big deal. So you decide that's the culture you want. You train your people. You tell them what they can do, what they can't do, what they can say, what they can't say. I mean, it's the same old story. It's like at every level, I was told what my authority level was for signing and for making decisions, and when I needed to go to the president. And it's the same thing. We start to treat people like they're just nobody. And these people, everybody that works for Disney has responsibilities in their life for raising families, in their church, in their clubs, taking care of their parents. They're responsible. And I just said, train them right and treat them right, and they'll make better decisions than the management half the time. And so that's what we do. And I think you got to be careful, not like you just said, people that are have a low self-confidence. They have trouble that, people want to be in control. Yeah. I want to make all the decisions. I don't trust anybody. I'm the only one. You come to me. Hey, I tell people, you need to go see a psychiatrist. There's something wrong with you. You can't do this, or you'll end up ruining your own health and life. If you got to be the one that knows everything, you got some serious issues and serious problems. And you probably should not. I always tell people, if you can't make hard decisions, and you don't let people make hard decisions, and you don't make hard decisions, and you don't have hard conversations with people, don't have children, and don't be a leader, because that's what you do. The product's never the problem. Really, at the end of the day, the product is the least of your problems. It's the people. And and I tell people, some people say, I want to get into management. I said, are you crazy? You want to ruin your life? All you're going to do is deal with people all day long. It's not about the roller coaster. It's not about the Cinderella. It's always people they're the ones. And a lot of people don't want to deal with people because it's hard.
Yeah.
And most people don't do the hard things. And I tell people, if you don't do the hard things, life gets harder. If you don't tell the truth, it'll bite you later. I mean, you can't escape it. It is, and when you get in the habit of making hard decisions and having hard conversations, it gets easier, like everything. you know.
That is such a valuable leadership lesson that I'm still learning, but I have learned more over the last few years in particular. And certainly, you know, Elizabeth and I have had a lot of conversations over the last couple of months, is going through the business adversity that this pandemic has brought to us. You know, I'm a realtor in Orlando. She's a realtor in Austin. It's really had us stay focused on sharpening our skills of being a stronger leader. And that includes sometimes saying, I don't have all the answers, but I have a great group of people who we network and collaborate with together. So we're going to get through this together.
Well, I think that's a message to everybody. You don't have to know everything. You just got to get it done. So if you got to call somebody or have somebody come and help you, or, I mean, so what? That's not the point. You know, I think my job wasn't to do things at Disney. It was to make sure they got done, you know, and that's what, why you want to surround yourself by the right kind of people and because attitude's everything, you know, really, literally, attitude's everything. And that's, I would say, we look at Disney, we try to get the attitude right first, and then we'll try to figure out how we're going to get the skill, whether it's training or whether it's hiring somebody, but they still got to have the attitude first. We're not going to hire a CFO that's a real jerk just because he knows how to add up the numbers. And so enough people don't pay attention to that, I think.
It goes back to the culture. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Basics.
It's interesting because during this time, and Leadership from the Heart, this came out just Renee and I asking questions of leaders we respect. We never ever anticipated we would be talking to different people as many times as we've had. But one of the consistent messages we keep sharing with others within our organization, but we're also hearing, is during this time, what are you doing to be ready to be successful when you come out on the other side? And one of the things I always say, and it really aligns with what you said, is get back to the basics, right? You talk about the basics all the time. I talk about, and in our world, I can get overwhelmed with all the technology and all these different things, but what I know what works for me and what's authentic to me. And so I always tell people, just stick to the basics. And I love that you share that same messaging, because I feel like now I'm not so crazy for always saying that, but I love that you talk about the basics all the time. What are the basics? What are the blocks that you remain focused on throughout your career to have such an incredible 40-year career?
Well, the way I think about basics is, you know, if you're raising your kids, they're going to turn out to be great kids because of you're teaching them the basics: honesty, ethics, politeness, courtesy, getting them a good education. I mean, those are the things that make people successful. And it's the same at work. The basics are, you know, I think Bill Marriott and Walt Disney both said, keep it friendly and keep it clean and everything will be fine. That's pretty basic, you know? Yeah, and I would now say, keep it clean, keep it friendly, and keep it safe. That's going to be a big basic, and it's going to be something you got to overdo, because just put people at ease it's got to be in their face for a while. And then what's going to happen? It's going to go away, because Americans have a short memory. This thing will go, you know, it's like things we do, we fade away in our life because it's really important. And then next thing you know, in 6 months, you're not doing it anymore because, hey, it wasn't that big a deal in the first place. And this could go on for a long time, and it may not. So I'm getting interviewed tomorrow on CNBC on that Squawk Box.
Oh,
they want to know about what I think about Disney and reopening. Disney announces their earnings today, this evening. And I said, you know, one thing I know for sure, I don't know how long it's going to take, and I don't know when Disney's going to reopen. I have no inside information. And I'm not even sure they know yet, because we're not deep enough yet to understand the ramifications of bad PR and people getting sick. But I know one thing: the commitment to Disney from our guests and people around the world, it's unbelievable. The passion to go there and to be, this business will be back. Now, I can't speak about a hardware store, but I know Disney is like the national parks. It's like people think they own it and they got to do it. And I told my friends at Marriott, parents don't say to their kids, when you grow up, I'll take you to Marriott. Right?
That's true.
Every kid says, when are we going to Disney? And every parent says, when you get older, I'm going to take you to Disney. They don't say, I'm going to take you to Home Depot or, it's just like, it's a really powerful thing. So I'm not worried about the future. It may take a while, but it's going to take a while for a lot of people. A lot of people aren't going to make it. Disney will make it, but they'll come back stronger than ever. And it's again because of the culture and I think the trust the public has in Disney to provide family entertainment. Yeah. And
That's
families are looking for places. Yeah.
And the affinity that the world has for Disney and Disney World. How amazing that you led that organization for a decade. Will you share with us what maybe one of your most important proud moments is that you had while you were there?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that one of the proudest days I had was 9/11 when everybody did what they're supposed to do because we prepared them. I mean, I pulled the trigger and everybody went into place. All the systems went in. We have a total manual system. We can issue tickets, and we gave people free rooms because their credit cards had no credit left on them. We gave people free meals. We sent the characters to the hotels because the families were really upset and crying and having all kinds of emotional problems because a lot of our guests are from New Jersey and New York. Yeah. We didn't lay anybody off. Everybody took a reduction in whatever, vacation or less hours maybe, but nobody got laid off. So nobody lost their health care. Nobody lost their benefits. And I look back on that as we were probably one of the few that did that. So that one was, see, how can you be proud of that? I said, I'm not proud. That was the worst day of my life, but it went well. And we pulled it off because we had the right team and everybody knew what to do. It's like in an airplane. Hope the pilots know what to do. They can't help you back at headquarters.
Right. Nobody would have ever expected something to that extent to happen. And the fact that you were ready and able for whatever came, I think it's very different if you're like, okay, we're going to prepare for a hurricane. Okay, Florida's had hurricanes, right? Or we're going to prepare for something else. But the fact that we had 9/11 that nobody would have ever dreamed possible, and you were able to go into action immediately and everybody was well prepared, that is incredible. I don't even know what the right word is right now, but I'm sitting here as you're telling this, trying to think of what that would look like. How did you really get all those ducks in a row? And it speaks to your leadership and your team especially, but that's amazing.
Yeah, we got ready. And I tell people, if you want a good formula for trying to figure out what you ought to be ready for, is every day reflect on the past and what you read in the paper about things that happen around the world, fires, all kinds of things. And think about, hey, this could happen here. Are we ready for that? And anticipation, thinking about what can happen in your business.
Yeah.
What can happen? And if you can't figure it out by yourself, get yourself 10 real estate agents in the room and a couple of customers and tell them, what are the kinds of things you worry about? And are we ready? Do we know how to handle it? What would we do? And at home too. Yeah. At home, what would you do if?
Yeah.
And, if you have a pool, if whatever. Anticipation is a very powerful way to think about the future, to get ready for things so they don't happen. As I always say, get ready before it happens. But if you're going to, my wife and I said when we moved to Florida, which room will we go in if there's a tornado? We decided you don't have a meeting 20 seconds before a tornado. You better move and know where you're going in the middle of the night when you're half asleep. So you got to and tell everybody in the house and everybody know, and here's what you do, and over and over and over and over. Like mothers are great at this. They just tell you the same thing over and over and over. So it's instinctive. You just do it when it happens. And so you got to really think ahead, anticipate what can happen if you have a 13-year-old daughter, anticipate what a teenage boy will do. God knows what they'll do. You got to really, I said to somebody, if you got teenagers, you got to go in their room every 20 minutes and see what they're up to. You know?
No, yeah, we're both in that boat right now. So
I'm loving how you're talking about the basics, and it's such a good reminder. We're parents here on this meeting today, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I'm getting some good lessons from Lee about parenting as well, which is great. The audience will love that.
There's going to be a lot of things you don't know about your children, because there's a lot of things your mother doesn't know about you.
right.
And you've got to really I don't trust any teenager. I don't care what they say. I lied to my mother every day when I was a teenager to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
My son told me he did things I will never be old enough to know about.
Wow.
All right, Lee. Well, I'm curious. Elizabeth is curious. Our audience is curious. What services are you offering today, and how can businesses or organizations learn more about working together with you and all of the amazing wisdom that you bring?
Yeah, well, before this happened, I was on the road doing seminars. I have a half day, full day, workshops, keynote speeches. We'd already produced some of the online work. Recently, I've been doing a ton of online teaching classes for professors at universities, because the kids are sitting at home, and we developed a kind of a delivery for them about what they're going through, kinds of things they ought to be thinking about, how to get a job, how to really impress the employer when you first get there. So I'm doing that. And for all my clients that canceled, I offered them a free online, since we can't get together, and so that they'll call me back. And I got one yesterday. I called him. I said, I don't think we're going to be able to do it up in Rhode Island in a couple of weeks, and I'd be happy to do one for you if you want to get all your people on Zoom or something. And he said, great. And he said, and I still want to do it with you. So he was happy about that. And, it's what am I giving? An hour? Come up here in my office and turn the computer on. But the more you give, the more you get. Let me tell you, the more books I give away, the more books I sell.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. It doesn't sound like it makes sense, but somehow the more you give, the more you get. And so I don't expect anything from people when I help them. I had a lady call me from Dubai the other day. She wanted to talk about her career. We got on Zoom, and she's telling me she wanted to be a doctor, and then she decided to be an engineer, and she's going to get her MBA, and her dad's an engineer, and we're talking. And I said, how old are you? She said, 15. I'm going, 15? She was like so mature, I was about fell out of my chair. She had her act together, and we talked. I said, I took your call. I didn't have to, but now I know you and your dad in Dubai, and you know me, and you never know, we might do something. Because I have a client that just asked me to do a whole series of online seminars for the Middle East, because the oil companies there there are a lot of American companies and other companies that want to continue training during this time. They want to buy online workshops. So, we're changing, but people's their expectations are changing. They're thinking, okay, I can't have a meeting, but I can still talk to my people,
Right.
And so that's how you got to think about it. The only thing that's changed is I'm not going to be with you. I can tell you this conversation today, right?
Yeah.
Right? It was okay.
It was amazing.
And
it's more than okay, Lee.
and it's better than sitting around. It's inspiring to sit and talk and have conversations about things, and it's uplifting. I tell my granddaughter, you should talk to somebody every day. Call somebody, get online with them, because it's easy to sit around and watch the news. And no, these are great. I have 2 or 3 of these a day with different, sometimes individuals, sometimes a classroom. And
about talking to someone every day, before we wrap, I just want to say, I've heard you speak before and talk about the basics. Lee picks up his phone, Elizabeth, right? Now I'm putting you on the spot, but I've heard you talk about before is there's no schedulers. I pick up the phone because I want to be direct to the people. And that's amazing.
Well, everybody's got a phone, but nobody answers them. And somebody said, why do you answer your phone? I said, because I do more sales that way. I close the deal and people have confidence in me. Hey, I had a guy call me yesterday from Southern California because I made an offer we made a discounted offer for the time management seminar. And this guy calls and I said, yeah, this is Lee. He said, is this Lee? I said, yeah. He said, I see I got a note that you're offering this time management seminar for a discount. And I just wanted to call and see if that's legit. It's not one of these fake emails from somebody. I said, yeah, it's legit. He said, oh, good. My daughter just graduated from UCLA in pre-med. I'm going to buy it for her. And I'm going to buy the other one too. And we had a big conversation. And now he wants me to come out when I'm there and come and see him. And, answered the phone.
You never know who you're going to meet and come in contact with. And I know, I absolutely agree. But I love that you're answering the phone. That's amazing.
Well, what are you going to do? Why wouldn't you answer it if you got it? I don't want to call you back. In fact, when somebody sends me an email and says, can I talk to you about my career, blah, 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 and they send me a bunch of stuff, I just call them and we get it done in 12 minutes and it's over. I don't have to sit and try to write and figure out we just talk. And there's something to hearing the voice, adjusting the conversation as you go because of more clarity and what she wants and asking questions, and just quit emailing people and just call them up and have a call. And
amen to that.
They won't forget it.
My gosh, I had my
conversation. Yep.
Right. I'm pretty sure my team here in Orlando, the Fun Collection, they are, I'm going to have them watch this, of course, and they're going to be able to say, yes, Renee, my team leader, shares with me all the time. You can't build relationships in a text or an email. You have to pick up the phone so they can hear your tone and your tonality. It's everything.
Absolutely. And a friend of mine wrote a book, said you can't lead with your feet on the desk. So get out there. And, right now you could be calling every one of your clients and just, we got a client right now that can't go see their customers. And he contacted us yesterday and he wants to send a box to them. He wants in there one of my books. He wants to send some cookies and an offer to have me or my son or other leaders do and he's going to pay for it, a free for the client, for his clients. He's going to offer a free leadership seminar or customer service seminar. And that's going to be in place of taking them out to dinner and trying to get them to buy his product. So he's picking up on this right away. And somebody's going to deliver a box and there's going to be some nice things. And
love it.
And they're not going to make a pitch for the work. They're going to do that later, but they're just.
Yeah. Building the relationship. And I love, my mind is racing because we come down to Orlando a lot as a company. I'm like, there might be some opportunities here. So I'm excited.
I know.
Well, somebody told me the last question you should ask anybody that you do business with, is there anything else I can do for you? Anything?
Yeah.
Well,
so you ladies, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. But I think that's a good idea because we get so focused. Okay, we got it. Well, we wanted.
Yeah.
What else can I do for you? A lot of people want to talk about the misery in their life or their husband's sick, or take the time to do that. It's people want to be connected. And a lot of people don't have anybody. They say loneliness kills you quicker than this virus. So you got a lot of opportunities now to. And by the way, every time you do it, you feel better than they do.
Right.
You go like, hey, I'm feeling good. I did something decent today.
Well, I have to say this has been a powerful hour for me. And I'm just in awe of you anyway, but for you to spend your time and your wisdom with us is a blessing. So
I'm giddy, Elizabeth. I'm giddy.
Anything you guys want to put together, let me know. Because I'm just doing things that people want to do, and maybe we can. And frankly, when we do these, you learn things too. Frankly, it's a good lesson.
It's a great lesson. Elizabeth and I have shared that. As we shared with you before we hopped on, as we've been facilitating these conversations since mid-March, and I almost feel as though it's been unfair because I'm learning so much while we're doing it, right? And so you say, oh my goodness, well, this is such an honor to speak with you, but you just taught us so much. Thank you so much.
I don't want to be a big bad boss. I want to be a teacher.
Love it.
Oh, you are.
That's a better legacy to leave than being a jerk.
And for those who want to hear more and learn more about Lee, make sure you visit Lee's website, leecockerell.com. We'll tag his social media pages on this feed. And Lee, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
And we look forward. There's going to be something on the horizon where we're all going to come together again. So,
where do you live, Elizabeth?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what a great place.
Yes.
I love that place. Yeah.
So you got Austin and you got Windermere. I'm in Windermere, so we're neighbors, Lee.
Those Windermere people are really fancy up there, you know.
So I noticed we were there in early March. Actually, we came down to visit them with our family, and we went to Walt Disney World and had the best time. And it was literally the weekend before the world fell apart. So yeah, Windermere was a little fancy.
You have better barbecue in Austin than Windermere does.
That is true.
Oh, yeah.
And Lee, if you ever make it out to Austin, Texas, we will definitely show you some good barbecue.
Yeah, I do. Sounds good. Thank you. You guys
Bye.
take care now.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yeah.